So I know I typically do the Mustang on this channel, but I went to go look some stuff up for my daily driver and couldn't find any good information. So I couldn't find any information on how to change out the oil cooler. So what I'm getting right now is, I found some write-ups, but I didn't find any good videos, so I was gonna hopefully make a decent video. You can see there's oil in my coolant there. That's never good. Typically that you would be like, oh, head gasket, but in this case it's just the, there's an oil cooler and then there's a gasket that lets separates the coolant and the oil back there somewhere. So I'm gonna try and make a video of getting that fixed. Basically, got to drain the oil, drain the coolant. I'm going to take the intake manifold off to give me some room to work, and I'm also want to take a look at the water pump, which is on this side right over here, and see if that's in decent shape, and kind of, if it's not, you know, take care of it while I got everything apart. So here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is drain the oil. Okay, while I'm down here draining the oil, I'm going to go ahead and take this little shield off and get some access so I can get under here. This is about where the coolant lines and stuff are that I'm going to need to get to. It looks like we just have some little Torx screws to take out of there. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks about right. I taken this off before because I did change this oil pan. This is a metal oil pan now. This used to be the plastic stock one, and so I took that off, and so I remember that just being those few Torx, and then you just slide it out. Okay, that ended up being 8 bolts to take that off. 3 on that side, 1 in the middle, and then 4 on that side. So now we have access. You can see a little better down here. Probably gonna pull this radiator hose to drain the coolant, just because it doesn't look like anything's in the way, so that'll be a little bit easier to just pop that off and drain it like right here or something. So I'm kind of wait for this to drain out a little bit more, and I'll get a bucket under here and drain the coolant. Okay, so this one's the lower radiator hose then, and there's a clamp up top a little bit. And it's going to be a little bit of a pain to get to because the clamp's facing that way. I'm going to have to get in behind here. So I don't even necessarily have the right tool for that. Well, it's going to be the easiest spot to go for. I'll try and get it off the channel locks. Of course, bucket full. All right, let that drain, clean myself up. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take off this duct here, and then probably the air box. So it looks like there's a couple of Torx here. There's a line here in the way that'll have to move. Then there's a secondary air tube here, and then I'll unhook it from there, pull this whole air box out, pull this duct out, and that'll give us a bunch of room. So let's take a look at that. These are Torx. Let's see what they are. T25. Do this the quick way with the power tools. Set those aside so I don't lose them. Of course, I'll remember where those are, right? Let's pop this out of the way. I think I'll go ahead and let's see. I think I'll just leave that out of the way for a second here. I'm not going to go ahead and pull that off. There's a little vacuum line right here as well that I need to address. Looks like I could pull it off on this side maybe. Let's take this secondary air tube out real quick. There we go. Just pinch and squeeze on both sides of that. There's some sort of a clip over here, I believe. There we go. So that's loose now. So next, I think I take it off here, or would it be easy to take it off there? Let's take a look. Yeah. Probably easier just to take it off back there. Just get a flat head. And get the coolant off of it. That kind of went everywhere when I dropped that. Unscrew this back here. It's not very straight to get to. So it doesn't want to unscrew. There we go. Let's see if I can get a wobble with a wrench on it. See what size it is first. That's too big. Alright, 10 millimeter. Everything's 10 millimeter, right? Of course, I don't have a 10. All the 10s disappear. No, that's smaller. That's probably an 8. Let's see if that works. That's smaller than an 8. Maybe a 6. Six is too small, so maybe that's a 3/8. So 7. Let's see if it's a 7. It's too big, so I think it might be a 3/8. Might be a standard. That's weird. No, not a 3/8. Quarter inch maybe? Quarter inch drive. Quarter. Somebody might put this on aftermarket because, yeah, that seems to be about right. So let's get a wobble on there. Let's see if I can get at it straight. Well, not straight, but kind of straight. Get that bolt straight at least. No, that's not going either. Damn it. Maybe that's not the easy one to get to. Okay, that ended up being a 7. I just wasn't on it straight. So I'm gonna go ahead and, just with that wobble, I'm able to get it straight into that bolt. I'll take a peek at what I'm showing you here. Okay, so on the back of the deal there, you can see I can't get on that straight without that wobble because there's just no room from behind it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the ratchet on there and take that off. And that did end up being a 7. Okay, that's feeling pretty loose. I'm going to pop that off. There we go. Pretty straight, easy once we get to that part. Now this the vacuum line that's right there isn't being so easy to pull off. So what I'm going to do is put a little pick or something in there and see if I can't push it back. See if I can do it with this. Yeah, just a little shove from the backside that helped it. There we go. Just this last one on this side. There we go. That makes up a bunch of room. Oh, there were squirrels in there. Some broken nuts. So there's 1, 2, and then there's a third grommet in the middle. So 3 of those. All right. So that gives me some room up top here. So now I'm gonna start working on getting this out of here. It looks like there's a lot in the way, so this might take a minute. Okay, I'm gonna get a few things out of the way. This fuel line, it looks like, it's just kind of tucked into the top of this intake manifold, and pop those off. And looks like it's there too. I might open this clip and move it. We'll see how much room I have. I'll just move that out of the way. Disconnect that. See if I can get this in here. Yeah. All right, that's gonna loosen up that coolant line here so I can move it. And I think what I'm gonna do, so I don't lose these, because these are a little bit different size, I'm just gonna tuck those back in there just like this. Let's kind of give it a few threads so it doesn't fall out. Okay. All right, let's see what the next thing would be. That, I got that out of the way. This harness is kind of on there, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to move that or not. And it's kind of sitting above it, so I may not have to worry about it. Yeah, I'm gonna reference the video I've been using, which was Humble Mechanic. He has a video taking the water pumps, which means he has to get that off anyway, so I've been using his video. Okay, there's a sensor right here, or a connector right here, I should say. Gotta pop that guy out. There we go. I'm gonna disconnect that. Just kind of set it down below. Looks like it's attached here, so I pop that off there. Yeah, that just pops right off. Okay. So it's like a little, literally just a slide-on clip. Okay, so next thing, I'm gonna pull this coolant hose off. There we go. Now it's wanting to come. Yay, no coolant either. Yay. Okay, that's out of the way. All right, next I'm gonna take this little coolant hose off the top here. This should be go. Get that out of the way. I also moved this fuel line up and out of the way. This coolant hose is disconnected, so I'm gonna kind of move that out of the way over here for now. Hopefully they'll stay and not get too kinked. Okay, next I'm gonna try and take this coolant hose off. There's another connection for this coolant hose right here, and then the throttle body intake basically right here. So I have to loosen that. That'll be fairly straightforward to get to. The clamps on these are facing down, so I'm gonna have to try and reach all the way up and get those two from underneath. So those aren't gonna be as easy. Okay, so instead of taking the coolant line off here, because I couldn't get to that damn clip because it's facing down, I ended up just taking it off right here. It's the upper radiator hose. So I just kind of have it out of the way right now. The other one I was able to get to, I moved that over there, just out of the way. And then that air hose fought with me a little bit, but got that off. So I gotta see what's next. Okay, I disconnected these connectors here. And then there's one little clip that goes down below. I don't know if I can see it down there that I popped off, and that'll give us a little more room. So next I want to, I think I need to take this fuel line off, which is down here. Ooh, where's that? There we are, right there. So I'm gonna undo that fuel line, get that unhooked, and then I think we're start taking the manifold off. Okay. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. There's a little squirt of fuel, lovely. It's not too bad though. I'm sure this is probably tight somewhere, as far as like a bracket or something. So you see where that is. I might just have to leave it like that. I'm not sure. Yeah, I can't get to it anyways. So it might just be to take that off now and be ready for when I take the rest of it off. So we'll see. So you can see that with that hooked up like that, I can get that all the way down in there. So what it was is I can't get this in between there because this is too narrow. So I couldn't put the little socket on that unless you have a small socket. You could probably get that in there, but I didn't have anything that would work. So I put my T30 on the end of that. Got the two 1/4 inch drives, 1/4 inch socket, and then an extension, and we'll pull it off that way. So let's see how that goes. Sometimes you just gotta make do with what you got. All right, I'm gonna crack these loose. Okay, that one's off. I'm just gonna break them loose for right now. And then we'll go ahead and get them all loose, and then I'll pull them out, probably with a magnet because they're kind of hard to get to. Let's see. Okay, and these two outside nuts are 10 millimeter. Ooh, that one came off. So it's alright, it's still just sitting there. So go ahead and grab the magnet. And then I think on the passenger side here, there's a connector. Let's find that. Oh yeah, let me zoom out. Sorry. Let's see. So down in between, kind of the filter and the deal there. So I'm gonna have to pull that guy out, I believe. But we got all those bolts out, and should be getting pretty close to this. Okay, and just to show you, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those T30s to the nuts. So the nuts are on those top corners. There's a T30 down there. I couldn't get that little clip dude out of there, so I was able to get the T30 up under that. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. So that's how we're set up. I'm gonna get this bracket off next. Okay, I pulled that bracket nut off, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this T30 off, because behind that there's one for this fuel rail that I need to take off, so gotta get that out of the way, so start there. All right, in order to get that bracket off, I had to loosen up the bottom part, which there was an M10 triple square. I don't know if you can even see where my finger's pointing down in that hole. And then to be able to get to that, I had to take this charge pipe out. So there was two T30s and then a connector that I needed to take out. And then the charge pipe just came out from underneath. So I could get that M10 in there, pull that out. Now this is out. Now we should be able to take the intake manifold off. Let's see. So gotta just go kind of slowly, make sure nothing else is attached that I forgot about, or let's see. I feel like okay, so I'm hitting, it's definitely loose, but I'm hitting the fuel line that's right there. So this fuel line that I took off right here comes down and around down here. So I think I'm gonna have to get something in there, pop that fuel line off. So I'm fighting with that manifold a little bit. But for right now, I'm just gonna sit here, drink my coffee, and ponder my life choices, like, why did I decide to start working on cars? Well, this little son of a bitch was a bitch. So that's the one that was up under here. I don't know if you can see where it was, but it basically went from the high pressure fuel pump there and then down and around, and was blocking the intake manifold from coming off. Hopefully, we'll see in a minute here. So I tried getting a wrench on one of these guys and couldn't get it on there. And so what I ended up doing was finding a 17 and then cutting the side out. Make sure you get one that's like a actual 5-point. Cut one of the points out, and I was able to slide it in there and pop it off, and it wasn't pretty. So let's see if I can get the intake manifold out. All right, felt like that was hitting that, and sure enough, it's coming further. Still kind of stuck here, so we'll see. I might just have to, yeah, I can just kind of pull a little bit again. I'm stuck on here. Feels like it's more of a soft thing now. Maybe like a hose or something. I just, well, where am I stuck? Kind of have to go up, but I don't know what I'm, oh, I see. There's no. I mean, it's loose, but I just have to figure out what I'm stuck on down below. All right, let me get a light on it and see what I can do. Okay, taking this little guy off, let me lift it up this way. Now I got it up, kind of up out of the way here. And I'm gonna look under here and see what's holding it on that side because I can't seem to pull it out this way. Looks like it's these wires right down here. And there's a bolt that holds those on. So I'm hoping that I can pull it out enough and just lift it up and take that bolt out. So we'll see. Okay, so yeah, I was able to kind of finagle it up after getting that one little clipped off. So I'm going to take these two T30s off for this little bracket that hold this harness on. So let's see how this goes. It's getting warm in here. Alexa, turn on the garage fan. Intake manifold is dirty. You can see all that grime inside of there. You can see there's quite a bit of oil buildup inside of that. So I might give it a good spray out with some brake cleaner. I'm going to change out the gasket for sure. But now, with that off, we have room to get to stuff. So, well, I still need to take out the alternator. So that's like my next thing, I think, is taking this alternator out. Because I need to take basically this whole oil filter housing off. That's part of the cooler. So my understanding, take the alternator off, then we can get to the oil filter housing. You can get to it. Actually, this is the cooler right here. So this is what we're trying to get to. You can get to it without taking the intake manifold off. Should have started the video with saying that. But this is going to be a lot easier to get to. And while I'm down here, I'm going to be checking out my water pump. Oh, look, howdy. Must be an upgraded water pump. So I'm going to check that out, make sure that it's not leaking anywhere or having any issues. So good idea to kind of take care of it all if I have it out like this. So next step, I'm going to work on that alternator. All right, the belt seems pretty simple. We've got a 16 millimeter. We've got a tensioner right there. So there's the alternator here. AC's down there in between, kind of just above the, let's see if I can get a better video of that. There we go. Is the tensioner. So that's a 16 millimeter bolt. I got my long wrench, and then you just pull it towards the front of the car, and you'll notice that the belt gets loose. So I'm going to need two hands to do this, so I'm going to pull that off. Okay, got the belt off there, and then there was these three connectors here, so I went ahead and got those off. I took those out of the way. Maybe this up here out of the way. That gets those three loose. I'm going to start working on the alternator bracket to try and pull that alternator out. Actually, before I do that, there's a connector on the back of the alternator I'm going to pull off. Okay, so there was this connector here that I took off. There was the negative ground there that I disconnected. So I should be free on this except for the bracket. So now I can attack the bracket. All right, there's 4 bolts that hold this thing on. 1, 2, and then there's 3 and 4 down at below. Once you get those bolts out, you can't get this thing out because these AC lines are in the way. So now I'm gonna have to try and finagle it out. I did take this connector off just to get a couple inches, but not even a couple inches, a couple millimeters. But it still wasn't enough. So I'm gonna have to try and figure out how to get this out of the way. Got it, that was a pain in the ass. So just know it's going to be a pain to pull out of there. All right, now looking at it, this is the cooler here. That's the bracket that I need to take off. So the AC compressor is connected to that, so I'm going to have to take the bolts off of that. I see 2 on top. There's probably some maybe on the bottom. I don't know. I'll get underneath and take a look. And so I think I'm just going to take that, swing it back as far as I can, maybe tie it up with some zip ties or something, get it out of the way, and then work on getting that bracket out of there. All right, there's 3 bolts on the AC compressor, 2 on top, 1 on the bottom. They're the same as the alternator bolts, looks like, but I just went ahead and separated them, put them over on that side. Now it looks like I need to get these big square D's and crack those out. There's one down there, two right there that I see right now. It looks like there's probably one up under here. So maybe 4 total, 5. So yeah, we'll see where we're at. I'm gonna crack those off there and see how many we end up with. Okay, there was 5 bolts, 2 short ones at the bottom and 3 long ones on top. And then this thing came loose, and when I pulled it loose, I lost a bunch of coolant down at the bottom there. So you got to be aware of that. It's going to start leaking, which makes sense because this connects to the water pump. I think the only thing that's holding me in right now is this. I got this wrench in here still, so I got to try and get that loose because it's not coming off the bolt. But get that off of there, and I should be able to pull this all off. Okay, we got it out. So we'll come back to that here in a second. I just want to show you up here. There was a T30 at the front here that held the dipstick to that bracket, so I had to take that T30 out right there. And then there's a clip down there that held that wire harness to the front of the bracket, so I had to pop that off, and it came right out. Made quite the mess. As you can see, I got coolant all over the ground. I did try and use my bucket. You get coolant, you get oil, all kinds of mess comes out of there. That's why we drain those at the first part of this. So I'm gonna clean that up a little bit, but let's take a look at this guy and what we're doing here. So this is the actual gasket that we're gonna be replacing right here. And I'm checking this one here. That doesn't look great. So I'm gonna see if that's part of it. If not, then I'm gonna see if I can get that gasket. And then there's another gasket, I believe, that's in here that I'm gonna pop this off and replace that gasket. And then the only other gasket I have is for the intake manifold. Okay, well, I'm gonna be pulling this gasket out and replacing it, but before I do that, I'm gonna take this oil cooler off. I'm just gonna break these off. These are T45s. So they're a little bigger than what we've been using, which is a T30. And I have a gasket for this as well, so that's why I'm taking this off. So I figure you're gonna take this thing apart, you might as well do that gasket, this gasket. There's that coupling between the cooler here and the water pump, and you might as well replace at least the O-rings on that. I looked at replacing the coupling itself, but they didn't have it locally, and I needed to get this done, so I'm gonna just get the O-rings and replace those. But yeah, I would just do as much as you can while you got this thing apart. So let's see what this looks like with these off. Maintenance item that I needed to address. Ooh, there it goes. Okay, so you can see now we got that gasket exposed, and that's should be this gasket here. I'm gonna go ahead and swap this gasket out, and we'll come back and swap the other gasket out. So let's get these done. So this one, oh yeah, this definitely needed to be replaced. This is hard and very flat, and you just don't want them, you want them nice and soft. Set that down. So let's see how this sits in here. Looks like we go like so. And it only goes in one way, so you can't really, I mean, you could screw it up, but yeah, the difference between those two is like night and day. All right, gonna pop this back on. Now we're going after this guy. I might need, looks like there's usually a tab on this one to grab, but I just went to grab it, and broke off and it went in there. So I'm gonna try and get it out of there. There we go, I got that out. So I'm gonna grab a pick so I can get this apart, but I'm gonna go get some cleaner gloves because my hands are filthy now, or my gloves are filthy. Okay, probably edit some of that shit out. Let's see if I can get this out with a pick. Find a spot here to start. This thing is just rock hard. I can barely get my pick in there. There we go. Got a little piece of it there pulled up. See if it's enough to pull it out of here without breaking it. Yeah, keeps slipping. That's, you know, this oil is viscous, not letting me, and slippery, not letting me grab it. Okay, there we go. All right, yeah, that's terrible. 140,000 miles though, so I'm not surprised. My new gasket here. I just picked these gaskets up from AutoZone, or I'm sorry, not AutoZone, O'Reilly's in my case, just because that's one of the closer stores. They didn't have them in stock. I ordered them online. They were here the next day. That's the reason I got them from there, is because they were available soon, so I didn't want to wait for them to come in from like across the country or some other place. But they seem to fit really well. Yeah, that's a perfect fit, so I have no issue with them so far. We'll see how they hold up. I mean, the car's got 140,000 miles on it. I don't know that I'm going to put more than, you know, another 40 or 50,000 miles on these gaskets. So we'll see. All right, I got those in. So now I'm going to see if I have them around. If not, I got to run to the AutoZone again. I'm gonna replace the O-rings on this little coupling. So this coupling goes right there, and that connects the oil cooler to the water pump. So these O-rings don't look too bad, but I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get some new ones just because I'm in here. And like I said, if you're gonna do it right. All right, so I took a look underneath the water pump. I did not see any water leaking or any of that. So as much as it pains me because I got all this apart, I'm gonna go ahead and put it back together as it is and hope this water pump thermostat holds up and doesn't fail on me. So reverse of what I was doing before, I'm gonna put everything back together now. Okay, I'm gonna start off by putting this little coupling back in. That just goes where I can see here, right here. That's in there solidly. That way when I put the housing back on, I can just slide it back on to that. And hopefully that goes in cleanly. Get this guy back on. Okay, let me go this way. And back in here. Ooh. All right, let's see here. Okay, so what I did is I put this on here, kind of shoved it back, and then I'm pulling a little bit just to see how that coupling is. And when I pulled that off, the coupling came with it, so that's perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put it back on there. That's kind of not the greatest design if you ask me. But you know, I like to complain about these engineers and the shit they do sometimes. All right, so get one of these long bolts because those the top ones are long. Put that in first. And these are the triple square M10, I think is what it is. I'm not sure. I just grabbed one that fit. Make sure you're using a triple square though, not a, what you call it, Torx, because that's not going to fit right. Or an Allen or something like that. Okay, that one's tight. Grab another one, get two in here, and then have a pretty good chance of getting it on there straight. All right, I'm just gonna run these other 3 bolts in. There's the 3 ones on top are long, the 2 at the bottom are short. So I'll run those in and then start putting the other stuff back together. Okay, just a quick update. I went ahead and got the bracket back on there, and I've got the air conditioning compressor down there back on. So next I'm gonna put the alternator back on, and just real quick, I did put these 3 connectors back on, and then the clip that goes to the harness, I put that back on, and there was a T25 that hooks the this guy. Well, where's that? Oh, right there. There's a T25 that hooks the dipstick to the harness, or to that bracket there. So put that back on. So now it's just the alternator, and we'll be back working on the intake. Okay, got the alternator back on. I'm not going to show that. That was opposite of taking it off. I didn't really do much more up there, so I'm going to go ahead and swap the intake manifold gasket out. Again, this sucker is feeling like it needs to be replaced. It's feeling kind of hard, flat. Ooh, gotta make sure these don't come out with it, or they do. I mean, I just gotta slide them back in. Okay. I didn't realize there was those little extra things there. Okay. Let me get a shop rag, clean it up a little bit. Oh, I did clean up around the intake ports, just wiped them down and whatnot. So I didn't do a whole lot there, but I did clean that up a little bit. I'm just wiping some of this grease or oil buildup off these swirl valves. It's not too bad, to be honest, compared to what I've seen in some cars. So I'll just kind of clean that up, and then get the new gasket. Just with the Felpro, I've used Felpro gaskets on just about everything, so hopefully this one's good for Volkswagens too. Never really had much of an issue with Felpro. So it looks like it goes either way. No, it's got to line up with that. Okay, so there's a little stub that needs to line up with the outside there, and that's fitting in pretty nicely. No weird bending or shaping it. Okay, that's feeling good. Nothing to it. All right, now the fun part, we get to put all this back on to the car. Okay, let's get that done. All right, before I put the intake back on, I have it kind of up how I had it when I was taking things off, and put this vacuum hose back on, and then this right here, this clamp to hold the harness in. I think that was all I took off. We'll see. So got this bracket, it's loose right now, so I should be able to get that back in okay. The hard part is really going to be once I get it back in and where it belongs. I need to get that fuel rail back on, so get to fight with that again. So here we go. Let's see if I can get this on fairly straightforward. Let's see here. Okay. So back here. And gotta force it down a little bit. This tube is in the way. Okay. There we go. Okay. And we got the 2 studs on the ends. That's going to put us right where we need to be. Now I just need to put my bolts in and start putting things on back together. Okay, I'll get over here. Let's see here. So on the intake, I got all the bolts in there and it's kind of snugged up. So now I'm just going to go on a cross pattern. So start in the middle and then just kind of work my way this way. And we're going to tighten everything to 9 Newton meters, which I'm going to use this torque wrench here. So that's like only like 6 pounds of torque. It's like 6.5 or something inch pounds. So let's go, or foot pounds, I don't know. It's Newton meters for me. 9 Newton meters is what I just read. All right. There we go. On the bottom one here, which is a little harder to get to. Oh, come on. Get in there. Okay. Went a little quicker than I thought, but there you go. So I'm just going to go through and do each one of them like that. Now I'm going to go that one, this one, and then kind of work my way out to the outside ones, and we should be good. Okay, it felt like hell, but I got this, I hope, on. I'm a little concerned about the tightness of the bottom bolt. That's just hard to get to, but I think it's tight. One thing I did have a hard time lining these up on either side. So I got the bottom lined up. You can't see it, I can't even really get to it, but I got the bottom lined up with where that goes on the bottom of this fuel line. And I couldn't get the top into this one at the same time. So what I ended up doing was loosening these two, or taking these 2 bolts out, and that loosened this whole high pressure fuel pump, and it let me just kind of wiggle it enough to where I could get that on there. I got it on there, got a few threads on it, put the high pressure fuel pump back on, tighten it down. So we'll see if it runs after I put everything back together. My biggest concern is fuel leaking out of the bottom here, but you know, that'll be obvious. So we'll get to that point when we get to that point. Right now I'm gonna start plugging things back in. Got a bunch of wires over here, and I plugged a few in. I plugged in these guys here, rehooked up a clip down there. Yeah, just gotta put it all back together.